Right, okay, so this is the testing video for my NEA. This is a chess game with multiplayer and AI. I'll start with the multiplayer because I would like to test the moves first and the stack, which is used for the forward and back buttons. We'll go multiplayer. A pop-up appears here. I don't think you can see it because it doesn't really work if I change it, because it pops up as a new form, so you can't see it, but I'll put screenshots in to the testing table. I'll call it player 1 and player 2. This works as expected, so you can't start a game without both player names being entered. Again, I'll put screenshots of that in. We'll start with pawn moves. Moves as expected. Each one can move 2 forward on its first move if it wants to. It can move 1 as well, but 2. So I'll move 1 for this one, and then it works for black as well. So I'll move this one forward 2. So that's that. I'll move a couple more pieces forward just so we can get some of these ones back here out, so we can test those. If you click on the wrong piece, an error message has also popped up. It says it's not your turn. I'll put a screenshot of that in as well. Actually, I will move that. See, the pawn only moves 1 forward because it's a second move. That works as expected. I will move that 1 forward. What I'm going to do is actually, first, you can't move it 2 forward because that one's in the way, so you can only move it 1 forward. If I was to move that 1 forward, then this wouldn't be able to move. I can take this piece because it's on a diagonal. That works as expected. I'm going to do that. And then this one can move 2 forward, or it can take the pawn. I'm going to do that. Move it out a little bit more, just so we can test some other pieces. The knight moves in an L shape, as shown here. It does that as expected, and it works for black as well. Gonna do that. The forward and back buttons, I'm going to test those. So if you were to, well, if I was to go back 1, then it will go back to the previous player's turn. So then, sorry, the knight just moved. That was player 2's knight. So now it's player 2 can redo a move if they want to, or they can keep going back more. That works as expected. Go forward as well. An error message comes up. Again, I don't think you can see that. An error message does come up if you try and press the forward button and there are no more moves left. So that works. And if I was to go back a few, so it's on player 1's turn now, click on a player 2 piece, an error message comes up, so that's working fine. And I was to move a piece, so I'll move that pawn, and you press the forward button again. You can't do that. So that works as expected because there are no more recent moves. So in terms of the stack, that works pretty well. So all of that's a pass, but also one of the tests is using the back button to go right to the start of the game. So I'll just keep clicking the back button, go right. You keep clicking the back button, doesn't do anything when you've reached the first state of the board. That works as expected. So that's good. I'm going to go right forward to where we were. It comes up with an error message, you can't do that. There we go. It's player 1's turn. Let's choose a bishop. Bishop can move in diagonals. That moves as expected. Can't take that piece. Can't go any further than that because there's nowhere else to go. That works as expected. I'm gonna move it. Can't move. Well, I can move that bishop. This bishop can take that pawn, so that works. I'll take that. Move a knight out. Knight moves as expected. The queen moves in diagonals, but it also moves horizontally and vertically, because it moves the same as a rook and a bishop. We'll test that in a minute. I'll get the rook out. The rook moves horizontally and vertically. We'll see if that works in a minute. Oh, king moves. That doesn't work, because the king can move in all directions, one space, but it can't move onto its own colour. It's doing that. And also this one's not being highlighted. That doesn't put it into check, so that should not be highlighted. As you see, I can take that pawn with the king. That shouldn't happen. That is a fail in terms of the king moves. Go back one. Then instead I'll move a rook. That can go down. That works as expected. And then I'll show you the... Can't show you the queen, it's the wrong queen. Because it's player one's turn. The king here can take the queen. Shouldn't do that. Does any of the moves result in it being in check? No, because there aren't any pieces around. I'll move the king one forward. So that doesn't work as expected. That's a fail. Bishop, as you see, works as expected. Can take the knight. Rook, take that. That works as expected. Bishop obviously can take the rook. I'm going to try and put the king in check and see what happens, because those moves didn't work for the king. I've now got to check when it's in check, if it goes wrong or anything. So I'm going to move the queen, get it somewhere near the king. I'll put that down there. I think I'll first test a move where it will put it into check. So that, say the queen moves up here, because this will put it into check. An error message, not an error message, just a message should be displayed saying that the king is in check. It's not done that, and it should. And it should be that the king has to move. Obviously these pieces, the moves are wrong, but this should be able to, the only one to move, but I can move any piece I want. That shouldn't happen, because what about the king? It's going to get captured, isn't it? So let's say I was to move another piece like the pawn, and now this queen can take the king. The king's gone. The king shouldn't be gone. That is a fail. And so I'll go back one, just so that the king isn't off the board. And now I will make it do... I'll move the queen here, and then move the king into check. It shouldn't let me move into check, but it's doing that. So that's the problem. And again, I can take the king. That's a fail. Can I try and put the king in checkmate? I'll put the black king into checkmate. Somehow, I don't really know how to do that, to be honest. I'm going to take some pieces off the board, because otherwise we are going to be here forever. Trying to, because the board's too full at the moment. What am I doing? I keep selecting the wrong piece. That might be a problem, actually. I think it could be because I'm rushing through this, but it also could be because the display is not very clear, because I've used the names of the pieces rather than the visual image thing of it, so that's probably a problem. It's not very clear to see it, because they could have different fonts to distinguish between them better, if that's the right way of saying it. So it's player one's turn, so I have to move white. Oh, that's all of the queen's moves shown there. Obviously it can take the king, it shouldn't, but I'm going to I'm gonna leave it here actually. I'll take that rook. Move that. I'll try and move one of the rooks up so I can put it into check. Or checkmate rather. Move that over there. So the king, well, the king can still move up. It shouldn't take one of the pieces. I'm not going to make an illegal move to take it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'll go back and redo that. I can move too. And try and move the rook up. So the king can move down there if it wants. But I'm going to try and make it so it can't. Just going to pop that up there. Move the king there, move the queen there. Now it should be in checkmate. But I can... Oh, okay. So I click the king. Doesn't come up with any legal moves. Because it's in checkmate. But it's not ended the game. So it knows that it's in check. No, checkmate, sorry. It knows, but it's not doing anything. There we go, okay. So a message box has popped up saying that player 1 is the winner. So it has identified that it's the end of the game, which is good. But it's done it at the wrong point. I had to move another piece for it to show that it was the end of the game. That's a partial pass, I think. I'd call that a partial pass because the idea of it worked once it was in checkmate. However, it didn't work exactly as expected. So, oh, okay. So what seems to have happened is there's literally a form has just loaded above it inside the panel, but it's a whole form. Not quite sure why it's done that, but it's still got the board underneath there, which is quite strange. Can I still play on the board? I can still move all the pieces on the board. It shouldn't. Your message box has just shown you're in check. Sort it. Now it displays it. Why it didn't do that for any other try, I don't know. But the fact that it's done it now is... Might be able to move that up to a partial pass. No, I don't think so. I think it's still a fail because it should work for every single time it does that. Because it's basically the main part of the game, really. So it should have done that. But why is it only doing now? I think it's a check. So it says I've got to sort it out to move out of check. So I'm going to take that piece. But I've just moved back into check. So I was in check, moved out of one check and moved into another check. And it doesn't tell me that I'm in check. And that's done that at the end of the game. And now it says I'm in check, but I've just taken the king. It says you're in check, sort it. That is a fail. I'm gonna have to say it's a fail, except for it did work sometimes. That's strange. Anyway, that's the testing for the multiplayer. I will make another part of video. I won't start the game on here because I feel like if I go through and do this, it's just going to load it above this, and it shouldn't really do that. I've called myself 554 for some reason. Actually, I probably could do the AI test here because it's not going to affect that board, so I'll move that to the middle. That I honestly don't know why that's happening. The pieces, the moves still work even when playing AI. The AI is just taking its own piece with the king. Well, it's going to do that because the king has an issue on multiplayer. It takes its own pieces. The AI is going to do that as well. So I think because that's such an important part of the game, the king being able to move properly and the king being checkmate and all that. I think that's a, in terms of moves, it's a illegal moves. It's a pass, but like a partial pass. I'll keep playing, see what happens. That's moved to, but it's moved into a place where I can take it. And then that one's just moved out. And it's just moved again into a place that I can take it. So this doesn't feel like I can take it again. This doesn't feel like the AI is playing optimally because it's just moving into places where I can actually take it. So I'd call that a fail. It doesn't move randomly. So that's, in one way, it ticks off that objective. That it doesn't feel like the AI is playing randomly. But it is. It really is just not working. I'll move a couple more pieces. That was a good move, actually. It feels half random, I think, or it doesn't really feel like it's bothering with your moves, apart from it does feel like it's trying to move into a place where you're gonna take it. See, I've moved the knight there, and the king is right there. I can take the king if I wanted to. There we go, took the king. Didn't care. It doesn't, I don't know why it does that, to be honest. In terms of the back buttons, it will go back 2 moves to the last player turn rather than it just going back 1 to the AI turn. So it should do that. It does that. So that's a pass. And then if I was to make another move somewhere there and go forward, I can't go forward because that's the most recent move. So the stack still works. It's just the rest of it. The king and all that. And it doesn't say that it's in check or checkmate or anything. Maybe if I try and put the AI into check or checkmate again, then maybe I'll see what happens. It doesn't feel like it's playing randomly, but it does feel like it's not playing optimally. So, no, this wouldn't be into check, would it? I will try and put it in checkmate now. This should be in checkmate. Actually, no. No, it won't be. See, it can take the king. That's bad. I can move the rook here, and then I'll move it up here as well. Now that puts it in checkmate. I think, yeah, puts that in checkmate. That rook could take me. It's not going to, and it's not said that I'm in checkmate. So that hasn't ended the game. Doesn't work. That's a fail, even with the AI. It's a fail. I can take the king. That's not meant to happen. The AI's moves really do feel random, to be honest. Wait, where did the knight just move? The knight just moved back up there. Oh, it kind of feels like the pieces are avoiding my pieces, but then also moving into a position where you can take it as well. Clearly, the AI shouldn't do that. It shouldn't feel like that playing it. So I think that's a fail. Clearly a fail. Overall, I think that has really highlighted a lot of problems. And there's a lot to be worked on. It's not good enough. Also, these 2 little bars here, I didn't explain them. Those were where the display for taking pieces were meant to be, but I hadn't got around to putting that in. So that's also a fail. Also, I have no test for pawn promotion because I just haven't done it. So that's another fail.